Oh. Whoa. Uh-oh. This is a disaster.
Yeah, this is why we don't drink milk.
Wait, because milk is a liquid?
No, because milk spills.
So does oat milk.
No, it doesn't.
Yeah, it does.
I've been drinking oat milk for years, never spilt it once.
That doesn't make any sense.
Scoot doo, blabbity blue, scoop dee. Oh yeah!
You don't do headphones?
I can do headphones. Do you need headphones?
You don't need headphones, but what I would love is, because when people have headphones they could hear, you got to bring this a little bit.
So, it's good. We're good. We've never been better. Look at this. Don't worry. I'm dead center, my friend.
All right. This is a new setup for me. I've been outdoors, and now...
This is the first... Am I the first one?
I've done a few, but it's been a while.
Okay.
I filmed a television show, and...
How'd it go?
I think really well. The last time... I think I booked it. You were on my podcast like a year and a half ago or so?
While back.
It took a while before we filmed it. But we were getting tested every day and blah, blah, blah. I haven't had people inside while I was working. So this feels to me like I'm a guest. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I'm getting my bearings.
This is the Joel McHale podcast, so...
Scoot doo, blabbity blue, scoot.
We're just excited to have you here, Rick.
Joel, thanks for coming over. Thanks for doing me this huge favor.
It's not that huge. I live pretty close.
Well, because of you, we are able to thank our great sponsors, Bespoke. So we'll be right back after. Summer's finally here, and boy, are my arms tired. That's not what I'm supposed to say. Summer is finally here, and boy, are we ready. That's what it is, because our new sponsors are going to help amplify your summer. Bespoke Post. Themed boxes for people who give a damn. I'll be opening this up in a moment, but in the meantime, get started with a quiz at boxofawesome.com and use code TYSO for 20% off your first box.
And we're back.
Snap.
I did. You didn't even hear it.
I didn't hear it. And if you guys didn't hear it, leave some comments in the thread. Let me know if you heard
Sorry
the
about
snap.
this, guys. We got to go back to commercial.
Get 20% off your first monthly box.
And we're back.
Thank you so much.
Hold on. Bespoke Post. Get what you want in a box for $45 a month. They get to know you.
And we're back.
Okay.
I don't have enough ads yet.
Okay.
Joel?
Yes.
Joel, thank you for coming over.
Thank you for having me.
I have a difficult time with small talk. I don't do it much.
I agree. But we're going to try today.
Well, I thought you would be a good I had this idea a few weeks ago, and I was waiting for you to do this. And it might be a reoccurring segment where I want to open up podcasts with doing like 30 seconds of genuine small talk, not making fun, and so I could get better at it. Is that something you could do with
Yeah,
me?
no problem. We can go way more than 30 seconds. You ready? I can start this.
Before we do, because I'm bad at it, could you give me a couple of pointers that I could do during this?
Talk about general things like weather or traffic's coming back or like what you're wearing.
Okay.
Just focus on something little.
Will you still lead it off, though? And
Yeah, no problem.
Okay. So we're just coming in like...
Yeah, no.
Here's the
I
beginning.
think, yeah. No, okay. It's good. Hey, that's I know I already asked you, but clearly you're a tennis fan with that top on.
Oh, no, I got it in Spain. But traffic is
Right.
is coming back now.
Sure is.
So I'm thinking of...
Are you okay with that?
Yeah.
Yeah. What kind of car you got?
Well, I don't have a car. So
But like a lot of Ubers and stuff?
No, a friend had a car.
Uh-huh.
And he's in New York because of COVID.
Right.
COVID.
Yeah, no. Yeah, I'm aware.
It's so tough. Everyone has...
He took his car?
You never know what other people are going through. But he
Sure.
left his car here, so I was taking over his lease.
Oh.
So 2 weeks ago, I started renting a car, and it's $330 a week.
Okay, but I guess when you add up, that's expensive, but when you add up the cost of a car, and then you add insurance and maintenance and fuel, then... it gets pricey.
All right, that was Small Talk with Joel McHale. Joel, thank you so much.
How did you feel like you did?
Well, at first I was making a joke about, traffic is tough. And then when I left that behind and then we were talking about that, I felt myself not liking the subject matter, it being too... we're us not being on the same. The reason I'm renting the car isn't because it's cheaper. It's because I'm going out of town for a bit, so I'll get a car after.
Yeah.
I felt like I was lying to you.
I feel like we're still having good small talk.
Yeah?
Because now we're commenting on the small talk.
Joel, I want to talk
Because the car thing continued, and now I know more. That
Okay.
You're going out of town. Where are you going?
I'm going to go home to Ohio.
Uh-huh.
Boy, my arms are tired. And then my girlfriend
You
lives
didn't say you were going to fly there, so that doesn't make any sense.
But I am flying because I don't have a car.
yeah, but we now said that after you made the arms tired thing.
Then my girlfriend, who's real, she lives in London. I'm going to go to London. Arms will be
Right.
tired.
She's lovely. Well done.
Oh, you met her?
Yes.
The last time I saw you, Betty brought it up to me, was at the farmer's market.
Yeah.
And I don't know when people know who I am. And it's not an insecurity, I don't think. It's just it's
You don't
happened.
think I know who you are?
I didn't know. At this point, I think I would know. But at that point, I hadn't seen you.
You don't think I'd remember that we had spent a lot of time with each other making a movie 3 years ago, and that I've been on your podcast? And then
5 years ago.
Oh, 5 years ago. But then we saw each other in Aspen a lot with your dad.
Will you have an open mind to me explaining my point of view on this?
We'll see.
If I had to put money on it, and fortunately at the time I didn't,
Okay.
I would have assumed you knew who I was.
Okay.
But I've been in positions before, and I've been on the other side of it, where the person, I assumed that you would know who I am, or someone assumes I know who they are. So what I like to do as an offering is, just in case, I go, hey, it's Rick Glassman, and then it lets you go, oh yeah, I know, even whether you knew or you didn't know.
I mean, it's very polite of you, but it does make me feel like I think Joel's had a brain injury, so I have to identify myself to a guy that I have known for 5 years.
Well, you did have some concussion issues, correct?
That was a long time ago. But
So
yes,
was the movie.
Well, the concussions were much longer ago. But that said, you weren't doing that because of past head injuries.
No.
You actually thought I wouldn't know who you were.
I was just in case. Saying to somebody, hey, it's Rick Glassman, is the equivalent of putting on a turn signal when no one's behind you. It's just in case somebody knows, somebody's watching. It doesn't hurt. It was a turn signal.
I guess if you were like Warren Beatty and you're like, hey, Warren Beatty, then you're like, ugh, this guy always saying his famous name out loud.
Right. I think if the roles were reversed, it would have seemed that way.
Well, how would I know that you know? How would I know that you would know me?
No. I mean, if Warren Beatty came up to me.
I see.
Yeah.
Well,
Because you're famous.
but I know you.
Tell me.
When is the last time someone you know as well as me didn't know you?
I don't know, but I don't know people.
I get it with people that, like, I've been on productions where people are like, hey, it's Betsy. And I'd be like, I don't remember Betsy.
But what do you say to her? Do you say, I don't remember? Or do you go, oh, yeah?
No, people usually walk up and go, hey, how's it going? I'm like, it's going great. How are you? How have you been?
Yeah.
And because I do have a problem with I cannot remember anyone's name. My dad, same way. So I was like, oh, good. I got that skill from him. Yep, it's okay. It's still rolling. Still a red light?
Yeah. Are you covering your face, or can we bring it down like this?
I'm covering my face on purpose. I don't want people to know I'm on this podcast. It's a really great table with the one.
I'm still figuring it out, man.
It's really good.
I just brought people inside.
Should probably put that thing here. No, but it's okay. But we're talking about two different things, because you and I got to know each other 5 years ago. We spent numerous days shooting.
Yeah, I'd say 15 days over a month and a half.
Yeah, and then you were in Aspen at the film festival with your dad.
We'll put up a picture. You were very kind.
Then your dad's way too handsome. And then we have seen each other, and we did your podcast. So someone like you, who I literally have sat and stared at for 90 minutes, I don't forget. But I will forget, like, oh, shoot, that focus puller who was on the commercial I did a few years ago. I don't
Bespoke
remember.
Post?
Oh, Bespoke Post? Don't forget to get your box at Bespoke Post, where we get to know you.
Good.
And so what I'm saying, so when you walked in, was like, hey, it's Rick Glassman. And I just assumed it's nice of you, but
What about this? What about the fact that, like, if you see, let's say you spent a lot of time with that focus puller, right?
Yeah.
On a commercial campaign that you did.
Yeah.
Now you go back to do another Intel spot or whatever, and the focus pullers there, you might, with a sense of memory, be like, oh, right, it's Brian.
No, I wouldn't.
Okay. But it's even harder if that guy just says hello to you at a farmer's market completely out of context.
Yes.
Could you at least, removing us, could you at least relate to the idea that, and when I say celebrity, I don't mean because they're famous or important or wealthy or whatever it might be. I mean, by design, celebrities meet more people. They work with more people. There's more data to remember.
I get your premise, and I agree with you 100%.
Okay.
But in the case of meeting me in the farmer's market, because we live in the same neighborhood, you identifying yourself as Rick Glassman does not apply to that thing we just agreed upon.
So you, by me doing that, it's less about you thinking that I feel unimportant or not memorable or whatever it is, and more about I'm judging Joel for being an idiot, not remembering names or faces or something. That's what you received it as?
I received it as odd, as why is the person I know identifying himself
Right.
with his first and last name to me? Because then my first reaction is, what the fuck? Yeah, fuck Rick. What the fuck? So that's why I swung at you in the market, and your reflexes are incredible.
Thank you. We'll cut to a clip.
But you come out here like you're entering Vietnam. You are definitely
It's a
going.
contact sport. Then what are we playing
This
for? What
is
am I
a-
supposed to do? What am I supposed to do? How am I supposed
Yes,
to play?
it's a contact sport in the NBA and in college. This is a recreational game. When you're on the text chain taunting people like, I'm gonna butt fuck you tonight, when you say shit like that,
I'm joking. I'm not gonna butt. I've never butt fucked ever. Have you?
yeah, it's great. I've done it a lot. You should try it. It's great, but it's besides the point.
Thank you very much. Joel?
Oh, jeez. No.
Part of my small talk thing
Yeah.
that I did learn a while ago was ways of getting people's, like, I'm being serious. I mean, it's funny, but ways of getting people's attention. I would notice patterns of what people would do and how they would ask things and what they would say. And one that always struck out to me, stood out to me, was when people would be, Joel, name.
Very
So there's
Chevy Chase of you.
Is it a cliche for you now if I want to ask you questions about Chevy Chase?
No, I mean, I've answered them
I know.
a million times, but I don't mind talking about those
Because
things.
I haven't, I have to assume you have, but I haven't heard all your interviews. And
Well, I don't expect you to listen to them all.
usually when a guest comes on, I try to listen to every one of their interviews.
That's bullshit.
No, I don't. But Chevy Chase is somebody who I didn't grow up watching.
Right.
I knew who he was, and I guess it was funny, but he wasn't an
Pause for a second. Who did you grow up watching? And if you met them, you would be over the moon.
I actually had him on my podcast, and it's not out yet, but Will Smith.
Oh, jeez. That's huge.
Yeah.
And you did it over FaceTime, or he came here?
No, it was pre-pandemic, and he agreed to do a second part. We were going to do a follow-up, a second part, so I've been waiting, and I don't know if that second part is going to happen.
It should.
So I'm still
You
sitting
should.
on
Just
it.
go do it.
Well, I mean, he's not, it's hard,
That's
he's hard
huge.
to get hold of.
When I met Steve Martin in person, I was just like, I cannot believe this is happening.
You've met a lot of people like this. Is Steve Martin your number one?
I don't really. It's no number ones. It's just a kind of like cloud of legends. Cloud of legends,
Sure.
as I like to call them.
Sounds like a DC series.
Yeah.
That would be Cloud of Legions, maybe.
Yeah. How do you spell that?
L.
All right. Anyway, yes. So you did not grow up watching Chevy Chase.
Mark this moment here. You did not grow up watching Chevy Chase. Sorry, I do this sometimes. I want to make sure.
You need to stop apologizing for pausing in your show. It's your show. You get to do what you want.
Thank you. I would talk to you about the apologies, but I can't talk about it anymore. Something happened to me a few months ago, and
That's good because I'm not interested.
it would make me nervous if throughout the thing. So we're just moving on. Chevy Chase.
You're nervous throughout the thing anyway.
That's actually very deep.
Yes.
No, seriously,
It's all true.
that's like my eyes are watering deep. I'm
no, that's
actually gonna
fine.
cry.
Are you crying?
I'm getting.
Did I get an emotional reaction out of you?
Yeah.
Well, I think
I
it's
guess
okay.
we'll leave it in then. Just so
Why
we're
not?
talking about
I
it.
think this is definitely what we should talk about because you're running an entire show here. Of course, there's going to be a heightened sense of emotions when one does that.
Yeah, it's less about the show and more about an interaction with a person that it's already sometimes hard enough, let alone for me to say, hey guys, watch this,
Right.
So I don't want to get too much into this because I do have a lot of things I want to talk to you about.
No, because we have talked about you being on the spectrum and then you doing the show about that with Bill Lawrence. And then
No. Bill Lawrence was a different show. The show I just filmed now is Jason Kadam's.
Oh, very cool. Very cool. And then you know that we've talked about my son briefly.
Yeah.
I actually, because my son is on the spectrum. I looked in the camera to let people know. And I asked him today, I was like, can we talk about that? Because now he's 16. So he's like, yeah, you can talk about it.
Yeah, I remember last time we didn't speak much of it. And
yeah, I didn't, because at that point I hadn't asked his permission.
I remember. And I think that's a perspective I didn't consider, which makes total sense. Because you have to ask somebody's permission.
Yeah.
Because he's associated to you publicly.
Yeah, and I don't want to just
of course
spout off about something that he might not want to talk about. But now he's open. He's very open about it.
Well, let's talk about it. But so it's not all over the place. I want to get in.
Why can't it be all over the place?
Because I'll forget to get back to the Chevy Chase thing.
I'll get back to it. Don't worry.
Okay.
This is how my brain goes.
Okay.
So me circling around to 12 different subjects is usually how my brain is.
Is that the dyslexia? Or is that just reading backwards?
That's the ADHD. Dyslexia, no. Dyslexia is just reading, but I am distracted endlessly, as evidenced by my wife.
Great
can tell you.
As you say that.
Because the thing turned off?
No, it didn't, but I can't see the red dot.
You want to check that one?
Yeah, it's going.
Just say red light from now on.
Red light.
So... Yeah. No. Anyway, Will Smith. No. That's the ADHD, which I've never been diagnosed with, but everyone included, and every therapist that my wife knows and or anybody I know has told me that.
Does your wife have any, whatever those things are?
No, she does. She's the adult in the room. If she's got something to work on, then she works on it. If it's in her brain, she's. She has become, and my friend Kate Buller said, she's the real adult and that is a massive.
Shout out to Kate Buller, by the way. I'll put her Instagram handle.
Kate Buller, read all her books. Her most famous one is called "Everything Happens for a Reason" and "Other Lies I Used to Love."
It's a good title.
It's great. She got cancer when she was in her 30s, and it's an amazing book, and she articulates it so well. And hilariously. She's alive. She's good. She also wrote a definitive history of evangelicalism and mega churches, which is fascinating. It's called Blessed.
I've never read. I've read one book.
I don't read books. I listen to them. I can't read them.
I do that.
What's the last book you listened to? Chevy Chase's Autobiography.
You know what's funny? Steve Martin's Autobiography, I think. Oh. And he narrates it.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah.
It's way better. I mean, I'm sure reading it would be great. I didn't read it, but listening to him say it, I cried so hard in that book. At the end of it, I just bawled.
There's something in there that I have held on to. Is there anything that you remember from it? Like, I got a nugget from it. I guess I'll just tell you what the nugget I got was. Never let the audience know you're bombing, which I thought was cool because there's obviously a lot of benefit and sometimes necessity to acknowledge yourself when you do something to make sure that you and the audience aren't too disconnected. But at the same time, when there's a bombing is sometimes a feeling that I'll make it for myself that I have when it might not be the case. If it's not going the way I want it to, even if it's going well. And by the apologies, I'm sorry, or I'm getting in your own way by your acknowledging mistakes that don't matter and other people might not notice.
Yeah, that's a really good. That's funny. I don't have a nugget I took away from it like that, other than the way he was breaking down jokes to like the sounds of the syllables of the words. Now I get that. And I was just like, he broke it down to the atom. And the other thing in that book in the beginning, when he talks about how there was no comedy clubs, there was just kind of places that had kind of shows, and you forget what was about to happen in the 70s, which comedy clubs came out of nowhere. And
Carlin was very on the syllables, on the rhythm of it too. Are you a fan of his?
Big time. Yes, he's wonderful. Did you ever meet him?
No.
I didn't either. I do have a poster at home though. Both of our names are on it.
For what?
It was like a summer lineup in Cape Cod.
Oh, you guys did a show together?
No, it was just like this week, Joel. This week.
And you kept it.
Yeah. That was a good one.
I've been watching, you saying that there were no clubs yet, even further back. I've been watching, it came out in 2017, but I just found out about it. AARP has a YouTube series, something with Don Rickles, Dinner with Don or whatever. Do you know about it?
No, that sounds great.
There's like 10 episodes. Paul Rudd is Snoop Dogg. There was one with Scorsese and De Niro, Billy Crystal, like all these people. And I think it was supposed to be dinner, but everybody took it upon themselves to interview him. And they're fantastic.
I have to watch that. Like, he's one of my all-time favorites.
And they show great footage. And they talk about, how, there weren't clubs and what he had to do. But I have questions prepared that maybe I get to, maybe I don't.
Great.
But there's one that is very organic to this because your Crime Scene Kitchen show.
Yeah, well, I thank you for mentioning that, and I'm not kidding.
On Tuesdays, Wednesdays on Fox at 9 p.m.
9 p.m. After Gordon Ramsay's MasterChef.
Make sure we get back to the Chevy Chase stuff, okay?
I definitely will.
So you host that show.
I do.
And also, I'm going to connect this to Don. I got to remember this. But
that's exciting. All right.
Hosting is a very specific skill set that is, you're the center, but it's not about you at all.
That's right.
Right?
Yeah.
You've done a lot. I'm going to look at you the way I looked at you just linearly. Community. That's where I know Joel McHale.
Okay.
And the character is, you're the most important person. You're the star of the show. You play an important person. You're very good at that thing. Now you're hosting a show where you're the cocky, you're just your character, respectfully. I mean, you're this confident guy, but you have to make it about other people.
Yes.
Is that challenging? And could you tell me things like, what would you say to somebody who's hosting something? Because it's hard. Does that make sense? Because I can make it more specific. I'm just already talking too much.
I absolutely get what you're saying. When I backed into hosting on The Soup when that started, and that's how I got good at it, because I practiced it every day for 12 years. So
you did it for 12 years?
12 years. Then they canceled it. Thanks, E.
Wow.
Yeah.
Really? How old were you when you started?
17. No, I was 33. 33? 34. 34. Just 34. And those were the days. But what am I saying is that, so I love hosting, and you making it is about the other things that's happening, right? Mm-hmm. And like, you listen to someone like Howard Stern, it's astonishing what he does, right? He hosts the show, but he's got all the plates spinning the whole time. And it's extraordinary that they're all included, except he's talking. I mean, I don't know if there's anybody that has ever been a better radio show host ever. And that's why you are the next Howard Stern. So what I learned with hosting is that you have to keep the ball in the air, and someone like Howard Stern really showed that. And I'm obviously the Soup host in the past, but now with this show, you make it about the person that is, like, you make it about the contestants, and then you make it about the other judges, Curtis Stone and Yolanda Gamp. And
we'll put up their screen.
Yeah, you just make it about them, and then when you have a chance to throw in a joke, you throw it in, and if it works, great. But you have so much support in a show like this, like a baking show, because it's Fox. They got a zillion cameras. There's a lot of money spent, so you're not ever left high and dry. It's not like stand-up where it's like, you've got an hour to be funny.
So you're saying if the momentum drops, you could reset.
Well, or they can just edit.
Right.
But so on that show, we take a lot of, it takes one full day to shoot half of an episode because they're baking, right? But we have to go in there. And so my goal as the host is, I really wanted to get to know the contestants and not just ask them the same questions that every contestant.
Do you get to know them off screen? Or you just mean
I know,
during the 2 days?
I really wanted to start conversations, and we did. I distract them hopefully into something that they want to talk about. Like, there's a moment. I don't know if they're going to include it.
You.
What?
Sorry, angle.
Because there's a moment coming up where one of the contestants loves Bailey's Irish cream, mm-hmm. And so we run with that. You'll see, folks. But anyway, I find it endlessly fun.
Hosting The Soup it's technically your host, but I think of it more as stand-up. I mean, it's not, but it's you delivering the camera.
Yeah.
This is...
You're all over the place.
Do you find, is there any challenges that you have of somebody who is, and again, I do mean this genuinely as a compliment, it's a huge skill set, but somebody who is so good at making it about themselves? Do you understand what I'm getting at? Like, is there any challenges with knowing, do you ever be like, I got to be quiet now?
Oh, yeah, I do that all the time where I go, let them talk and let them do their thing, and then you just give them all the fishing line that they need. Just put that net out there. Same thing with like people like Curtis Stone, the chef, and Yolanda Gamp, the baker. I mean, she's like the queen of cakes. They are.
That's the fondant YouTuber?
Yes. It's like they have no trouble. They could host their own shows easily. So that's the one thing you don't have to worry about them, and everything they're saying is good.
It sounds like you're describing a team who people could do stuff. Is that what it feels like? Does it feel like he's a good shooter, she's a good driver? Like, is that what you mean?
Yeah, we're all. I mean, obviously they know a lot more about recipes and baking and all that stuff. So they are essential to the whole thing. So yeah, I mean, it was one of those things where when I hear about, because I've heard about lead actors like stealing jokes from other actors in shows. They're like, oh, that joke worked for them, so I'm taking it because it was funny.
You mean like sitcoms?
Yeah, like sitcoms where I just thought, A, what an asshole move, and B,
well, how could they do that? They're not the writer. What do you mean?
Yeah, but if they're the star, they get to choose. If they're the big name. I gotta do this. I'm just drifting. Thank you. If they're the big name, then I've heard that happen. I've heard of that happening quite a bit.
I want to give a plug to my series, The Sixth Lead here.
Do it.
For those who haven't seen it, I did a series called The Sixth Lead. I was a sixth lead on Multicam, and the whole series is about me trying to get jokes in. I finally wrote the perfect joke, and
Yo. Hey. What's up, handsome? How you doing, man?
good. So you know that joke that everybody thought was more of a Ron joke?
Yeah, it's pretty funny.
Yeah, it's pretty funny. Well, it's now fucking hilarious, and it's definitely no longer a Ron joke. All right, check this out. Brent hands me the pretzels. As he hands them to me, we go in. So now we're in.
That's fucking amazing. I gotta tell you, man.
Yeah.
I mean, it's probably more of a Chris joke.
And we're back. So when I hear that, I think it's stupid. But more importantly, when someone on a show, if the lead on the show, if you're a lead on the show and someone else in the show is super funny, that only makes everybody else look great. So it makes the show great. And so I was just like, when I hear about these leads stealing jokes, I'm just like, you idiots, don't you understand? When someone else is funny on your show, that's a compliment to you, you dummy. And that was a sidetrack. But anyway, Chevy Chase.
Not yet with Chevy. You as a host.
Yeah.
Wait. Don't edit this out, but just fast forward it. So, a behind the scenes type of thing here. These other people know more about baking than you, but you're the reason people are tuning. I'm sure there's other reasons, but you're the star of the show. Right.
I'm the host. I don't know if they're tuning in to see me. Baking shows are very popular. So
why did Fox decide to have? If it wasn't you, it would be another comedian figure, I would assume, right?
Probably.
And why do they pick you? I don't mean Joel. I'm saying, why are they looking for that placeholder? What would you define that job as? Does that make sense?
Right. I think it's because I've gotten to know the production company and the team that runs The Masked Singer and the Masked Dancer, and I Can See Your Voice with the untalented Ken Jeong and I have gotten to know them. Ken and I hosted their New Year's Eve toast and roast. And so I have a relationship with them that I've had for like 3 years. And so when this came up, it was like they asked. So
How much of the work have you gotten has been that kind of stuff? Just like, you know people, you've done something with them, so they're giving you another job.
boy, that's for stuff like this.
Anything you've done.
Yeah, for stuff like hosting and things like that, that happens a lot because I've done it a lot, and so they know that I'm an option.
So what is it? They trust Joel could do this, so why look elsewhere?
Yeah, I get. Well, who knows? I think it's case by case and
Deal or no deal.
Exactly. And I think when I hear people also go, "Hey, so Hollywood, it's not really about how good you are; it's who you know, right?" Which I think is such bullshit because it is partially about if you're good or not. And of course, you know people in the business if you're in the business, just like all the plumbers know all the plumbers and all the lawyers know all the lawyers. So of course,
and I don't mean to interrupt. It's just I could read the comments already because people are going to be like, well, a lot of the plumbers know the lawyers. A lot of the lawyers know the plumbers too. Like it's not just. I just feel like you have to say that.
I'm not saying that.
I'm just saying I feel like it has to be acknowledged.
I think you're wrong, but go ahead. So what I'm saying is that's how I got that job. But for something like a movie, where some of the directors don't know who I am, they want me to read the words. So I do that. Or if they often like because I'm not as well known in movies and stuff. So, but if they watch something I do, then sometimes they'll make an offer.
There's the nugget that I told you that I took from Steve Martin.
Yeah.
I have a whole bunch of those from different people I know, people I've heard in interviews, and one of them that I think of a lot is Gerard Carmichael. Do you know Gerard?
I don't, but I am. His special was so funny. The one directed by Spike Lee was so funny.
He's amazing.
NBC was so dumb to cancel his show.
He's
Thank
doing
you.
good.
Sorry, NBC.
He said that I don't remember what it was referencing to, but I know what it means was people need to know that you could walk and chew gum. It's it's as simple as, like anybody could do. Like I remember thinking when I was on Undateable, as good as I could be in some things, especially where I was in my abilities at that time, anybody could do that. You know, I mean, there's 10,000 people in the city that could do that, and I got it. But because they saw that I could walk and chew gum, it allowed me to now, okay, he could do that simple thing. Does that,
Right.
you know what I mean?
Yep, absolutely.
So there's something to the realization of you want to be the best and you want to be special. And that still is true, but it's not that deep. People just need to know you could do this thing. And then which leads me into another one, Dak Shepard, who is on in a couple weeks, by the way, told me.
Great guy. Great man. I love him.
He told me that kind of contradicting the who you know thing, but in the same way, people, you need to be good, you know?
Yeah.
I took that as the way he said it, you need to be good enough, not even the best. But people just have to like working with you.
Yep.
And just show up and just do your thing. But like, so that makes me think of that, how like, yeah, Joel, he could do this thing, but they like you. You're probably fun in between takes or something like that.
Yeah, I would say that is if you're easy to work with, unless you can be a megastar and be pretty difficult, but the second that is over, people will stop working with you. But if you're fun to work with, and what I found is like you want to be around those people. It's just like anything else in life. You're like, hey, that person's great, and they're so fun. And my friend was on the set with Jamie Foxx, who I've never met, but in between every take, he would turn on like a boom box and everyone would just have a little dance party while they're doing the next setup. And I was just like, that is so great.
I feel like Jamie Foxx, even though he gets a lot of recognition, is low-key the most talented person in show business. Whenever I watch him do an interview or a impression or a song, he's just...
Yeah, he's got it. That was when I see guys like him, I'm like, how can anyone believe there isn't a God? Because
Is he a god?
People like that are put on this planet and they are born
Yeah.
to entertain and be that's one of those people. That's one of those, because remember, like upcoming actors are like, I don't know if I'm good. I was like, I know that guy's good. That guy can do it. And yeah,
You're saying when actors about themselves saying, I don't know if I'm good, or about other people?
You know how you see, okay, I'm saying like there's a group of actors, there's there's the kind of like average level of talent, which is pretty high, but then there's people like him that are just,
Right, the aliens.
Yeah, the aliens. That's
Yeah.
a great way to describe it. Yeah. I think Samuel L. Jackson is the same way, where I've just like everything he does is good.
Yeah.
And that is hard to do. And he's different and he's, yeah.
Well, your conversation into difficult to work with from things that I've heard and is a great transition, but I'm going to fill up my coffee and we'll be right back after a word from our sponsors. If you have been suffering through an episode with Joel McHale just so we could get to the box opening of Bespoke Posts, I have good news for you. We are going to get there now. But before I open it, I want to tell you a little bit about what this is. Bespoke Post only sends guys the best stuff every month. No matter what you're into, Box of Awesome has you covered. You could go and take their test to find out what you're into, whether it's grooming, cooking, outdoors, backpacking. Bespoke Post sends you a monthly gift, guaranteed to be worth at least $70. However, it's $45 a month. They release new boxes every month with different categories. It's free to sign up, and you could cancel at any time or just skip a month if you don't want to get a gift then. I got this. Oh, yeah, this is nice. This is really nice. I got a travel duffel. This will probably be used to help me because, as you know, I've become a ventriloquist over the quarantine, so I will be traveling with my puppet. This is cool. What's this? Oh, they gave me a flask? Oh, what is this? This is nice looking. Hand stitched. It's just a storage case that you could keep stuff in. I gotta be honest, this is like manly stuff. It's leather, it's flasks, it's bags. This is a very beautiful, well-made bag, well worth over the $45. Hey, I have something to say. Oh, what's that?
Get 20% off your first monthly box when you sign up at boxofawesome.com and enter code TYSO at checkout.
Wow, that's right, Puppet Rick. Wow, you have a really interesting Australian English voice there, Puppet Rick.
Thank you.
That's boxofawesome.com, code TYSO for 20% off your first box. Put you back in your home. You go in your home there now. Beautiful. Hey there, girls. I guess guys, but my audience is mostly hot girls, so Anyway, I'm trying a live TYSO from the living room with special guest, pot smoking, hair having, been in Ghostbusters before, acting Adam Ray. We're going to do a live show June 17th, 6 p.m. Pacific time, 9 p.m. Eastern time, or 2 a.m. the next day in London. The link is onlocationlive.com/TYSO. The link will be in the description. I am trying this out for the first time. There is a better chance than not this is going to be a clusterfuck. But if you want to be a part of it, tickets are $10. Or if you're a Patreon member, tickets are $5. It's going to be a full episode, but at the end, we're going to do a Q&A where people are going to be able to call in, both audio only or if you have video. No obligations to show up. If you're not interested in a show without live action animation, then I totally get it, and you could just wait for your free Monday shows. But if you're interested in checking out the clusterfuck that is the live show, visit onlocationlive.com/TYSO to get your ticket.
So all people have to do is go to boxofawesome.com and use the code TYSO, and then they too can get a bespoke box
For 20% off. That's right.
Amazing. Thanks for the book.
Yeah, have you read that yet?
Yeah, a couple times.
Yeah, on tape? Or you actually read it?
No, on Audible. I didn't get the tapes.
Yeah, Justin Timberlake doesn't do the voice of it, which is a big miss for me.
Yeah, they really should. I mean, come on. You didn't have time? I guess it's a weird book because they're like, on this page, there's not a lot of writing. It's just one quote.
If I post a social clip to get Justin to
He will
narrate
never,
his book.
ever come on this show.
Oh, that's not what I meant. But,
Oh,
but the
then
fact that you said that
I
makes me feel
apologize.
quite defensive.
Go ahead. Be defensive.
All right. So the Don Rickles, hosting thing.
Mm-hmm.
I'm watching all these people who are, Zach Galifianakis, Sarah Silverman, Paul Rudd, all these people that they know what they're doing. They've been doing it for a while. And relatively speaking, in their relationships, they're on equal or high status, right?
Yes.
But now here they are interviewing someone that they clearly look up to.
Yeah.
And also something that's maybe a little bit of a dark observation, but he's very old. He passed away months after, if that, this thing.
Yeah.
So they're kind of like, hi, Don. Something that I don't think he needs. Because even though he's slower, you could tell he's there.
Yeah.
But there's something that they feel the need. This is where the hosting thing comes in. Where I'm watching these people who are so funny. Vince Vaughn, who did a pretty good job with it, but even they sacrificed some of their talent or their edge, their thing that makes them special.
Be with them.
Which isn't necessary.
Right.
But they feel that they need to go down here. I feel like you wouldn't do that.
When he was alive, I met him a few times, and I did insult him a number of times.
I
felt like, and he laughed, and I was like, I just made Don Rickles laugh.
Is there a time where there's someone like that versus I watched you on Conan? I think it was a repost. Maybe it wasn't when you were doing.
Well, with the last one where it was like half an hour.
You guys were in. Yeah, I watched. I think it was in 2 parts. I watched the first part. You guys were far apart.
Yeah,
and
that was one of the most fun I've ever had.
It was really good.
I had so much fun.
But I noticed something, and with you, that is. You take, I could relate to this. I think we do it differently and you've mastered it better than I, but you take big swings.
I would agree that I've mastered it better than you.
And your big swings could miss.
Oh, yeah. And they do.
But much like Steve Martin said, you don't have to.
Yeah, you just got to keep swinging.
So I watched it with Conan, and I mean,
Conan came over and watched. That's amazing.
We watched it together.
Oh.
Pardon my candor, but I just think here's what it is. I watched it with Conan, and it was so good. But I noticed little moments where you took a big thing and it didn't quite hit.
Okay.
And he's so good that he knew what you were trying to do, and either Richter chimed in to be self-deprecating, or Conan became the alpha for a moment to let you do this, and you do it with other people. It's a dance of at the greatest level with you guys.
He's amazing.
But you too.
And Richter is amazing.
You could have fallen. Anybody
Yes.
could have. But I'm watching you in particular because there's something I see that I very much relate to. Just the swings that you take. You do it different. You're a gambler.
I just keep swinging.
But when do you swing and miss, and it affects you, even if you don't let the audience know? Is there ever a moment where you're like, Joel, I've been here before, just you're going to sweat for a minute and I'll be back? Does that make sense? Are you ever affected by the miss?
As long as the next thing doesn't. If there's 12 misses in a row, then I would say, then I would be like, whew, not on your game today, huh, there, McHale? But if I'm okay with making those mistakes, and I'll call them mistakes, like as long as you can cover the next thing, you can cover that mistake with another one. And even with another mistake, you can cover the mistake. So,
do you have any tangible advice on that?
This is going to sound very pretentious. So there was a jazz pianist. I can't believe I can't remember his name.
About Miles and they don't know you miss a note?
No, it was like, and I remember him being interviewed. They were like, they're asking him about how he plays and he improvises. And the guy was like, you're a flawless improviser. I've never seen anything like it. And he goes, what are you talking about? I'm making mistakes constantly. I'm just covering them. Yeah. And I was like, that's what you got to do.
That's what the Steve Martin thing is. That's what I'm trying.
Yeah.
You're very good. And I don't know if I should just steamroll through or not, but it's in my head, so I acknowledge we're human beings. We miss. I mean no disrespect.
Absolutely.
Right?
I mean, Tom Brady doesn't score a touchdown on every play.
I saw an amazing statistic that he's been to the Super Bowl. I don't know if it's how many times? 7, 10?
Yeah.
Whatever it is, his percentage of going to the Super Bowl is higher than Steph Curry's three-point percentage, which I thought was wild to see.
That is amazing.
There's a better chance that he's going to the Super Bowl than Steph hits a three.
That's incredible. And can we just say, again, I'm going off on another tangent, but these NBA playoffs, I was like, this is the best basketball that's ever happened right now. I cannot believe how good they are. Every team, when they're like, oh, the Lakers are in trouble, I'm like, I don't know. They seem fucking amazing. I mean, everybody, I just think the level of play is, I've never seen anything like it.
Are you following a lot of the players on social too?
I don't follow as many NBA. I follow a few.
Or at least even the Bleacher Reports and stuff like that?
Yeah, I follow a lot of that stuff.
Because watching that, it does make basketball, the past few years now, but more so even now, it does feel like a soap opera. Like you're seeing all this behind the scenes stuff.
Yeah. I watch Sports Center, and then I watch. I love watching Ernie and Shaq and Charles. It's like the end. What's his name? But that's some of the best basketball analysis I've ever. I mean, it's crazy.
My girlfriend doesn't watch basketball and loves the show.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah,
that's
they're
a
so
huge
good.
compliment to them. I mean, they break it down. I mean, they break it down in the best sort of without. Yeah, it's not polished in the best way, and they're really being honest. I love it.
I want to get into it wasn't pretentious. I guess you thought pretentious because you're referencing jazz and people think
Yeah,
that's
we're like,
pretentious.
comedy's like jazz. When I hear that, I'm like, come on.
Yeah, what do you think about like I used to feel that, what we do, we're artists and it's all very pretentious, but the more I kind of understand what it is that we do, the more I appreciate, and I really do think of it as art and music and a craft. And I don't think of that. I wonder if just my perspective changed and I am pretentious when I think of this stuff. But just like,
No, you're not. We work on this thing
So
that
hard.
we've gotten good at.
yeah.
That's talent and skill and craft and practice.
But I want to know if there's anything else you could tell me, because I do think that it's something that you have earned, your ability to, because also something that I relate to you with is not only do you take big swings, when other people take a swing, typically if they miss, what that means is that wasn't funny. But when I feel a lot of the choices that we make miss, not only is it not funny, now he's an asshole or
Yeah.
he's mean or whatever it might be. And that's what Rickles obviously is so great at. But I saw some on Conan where you're playing an alpha. Whether you are, I'm just saying the character on there, you're sitting down, you have your drink, your posture, you're fucking jacked, and Conan's even talking about it. You're this thing. So you don't have the luxury of being the underdog. Right?
Well, yeah, I guess not.
But
But I always
doesn't
think-
matter.
Right. But technically, I mean, you're with Conan, who is, Conan.
yes,
so,
but he plays this.
Yes, but he plays that. So,
So you guys doing this, how do you you're just really good at it. And I don't know what the question is. I'm asking for advice on missing. You know what I mean? And it being okay, or
yeah, I think who is it? I did outdoor comedy a week and a half ago, and I'm not gonna remember her. It was the first time I met her.
do you want to lip it and then send me voiceover? and we
No,
put it
it's
in?
okay. She's a very petite Israeli girl. I mean, I said girl because I think she's like 23. She's got one. I'll figure it out later. She was super nice and really funny, and but she was just like, if I'm having a good time, they're having a good time.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you're having a good time, they're probably having a pretty good time. And as opposed to if you're not having a good time, they can sense that, and and so even if it's not going well, if you're still have a light heart and are kind of like, hey, that didn't work, we'll see what happens, they're going to be okay.
I agree with that, but it's tough to control because sometimes you're not okay. Sometimes a person is not okay.
Sometimes, but I think if it's like if you're having a good time on stage, they probably are.
Do you ever get nervous in a performance setting, whether it's a podcast, a show, meeting people in public?
I got nervous. I stopped being nervous doing stand-up long ago since and hosting. That stuff all got that was circuit was burned out of me after the White House Correspondents' Dinner. Yes, did I host that? Thank you.
2014?
Yeah, and so that was burned out.
Tell me why it was burned out from that.
Because that was the most nervous I've ever been in my life. So I think I stripped that wire of any sort, so that was gone. So then I noticed, I was like, geez, I'm in front of 3,000 people and I don't really I'm not having a nervous reaction before, am I going to do this? Is this going to work? But when I started going back doing stand-up a couple months ago, that first time I was like, oh, I'm a little nervous because I haven't done this thing.
Yeah.
And I was so but I was also really thankful. But I think I'm not trying to brag that I don't get I get excited now. So when I know I'm about to go on stage,
Which is the same thing.
I become ramped. Like with Conan, I was very, I wasn't like, guys, I don't get nervous anymore. I just really get happy and I can't wait to go out and play.
That's a perspective thing that I have not mastered but gotten good at, where the nervous thing is the same as the exciting thing. It's just how you see it.
Yeah.
And once I accepted that I'm nervous and I'm probably always going to be, and that's okay.
No, I think, and I used to I think when I had nerves or nervousness, that's a gift from God.
You always do. It's you do better.
Yeah, it's that fight or flight wonderful thing that's about to happen, that you get to step on stage and make people laugh, hopefully. So I remember when I stopped being nervous, I think I had a show that was kind of low energy because I wasn't. I was like, I was like, oh, you need to to get like excited, and I did. I mean, that
How?
was just
Like
one.
just by caring more? How do you get excited when you're not?
I get excited by new material
Yeah.
and stuff like that. So I like old material too because it works. But
we actually have a clip.
and I don't know. That's why everybody farts. There you go. Anyway, I know I let us down, as Conan would say, a cul-de-sac at 90 miles an hour because we were talking about. I can't remember what we were talking about. Oh no, you actually did ask that question about that, so that's great. It goes back. You start out with hosting, and believe, I am now almost 50 years old, so I really now kind of enjoy it and appreciate it more than I ever have.
So the fight or flight instinct that is there, it's the difference between choosing flight versus fight.
Well, you can't. Well, you can't fight or fly. You perform. I guess.
Well,
fight
I'm
or flight.
thinking of fight as like I'm staying there and here I am versus
Yeah.
running away and being there and being in your head while you're there.
Right. I think it's way more interesting to stay and fight because
Yeah.
you're on stage and you're performing. And yeah, when I see when I see comedians that are mad at the audience, I'm just like, dude,
Yeah, I know.
give me a break.
It's also such a clear projection of you're mad that you're not getting the response you want and blaming it on them.
And when I've seen comics yell at the audience because they're like, "This shit is funny," and I'm like, "Okay, well, I don't think you need to tell us."
Yeah, it's not.
Yeah, it's not, and you telling us makes it even less funny.
Yeah, some people are able to. That's some people's shtick.
Yeah, that's true. If they figure out a way to make that work, great.
Yeah, that's what Rickles talks a lot about. How what he feels he has that's special about him is his insults. People think are with love.
Yeah,
You know, and that's what you. That's the way I receive you. That's what your thing is.
I would say, yeah, I do that.
Do you think? Did you think that you struggled with that before? How did you navigate people knowing that's Joel's thing, Joel's playing, as opposed to he meant that's an ugly shirt or whatever? You know what I mean?
Right. Are you asking me if anybody's misinterpreted it or?
Well, they used to, and maybe it still happens. But has it gotten better because they know who you are and you've done it long enough, or have you found a skill?
Yeah, I think like people they had said certain rule. There was like rules about or some comics are like, well, you can't be. One comic is like you can't be in really good physical shape and be a comic.
I've heard that.
Yeah, and I was like, why? What? Who made up that rule? You have to have a hilarious comedy body for comedy to work.
Do you think it helps?
No, I mean Ryan Reynolds has proved it over and over again that he's insanely funny.
Are you guys buddies?
We're in a fantasy football league.
I've never made the connection, but you guys do have a very similar thing. Is it just because of the
We are
bodies?
very similar. I mean, other than how much success and money he has.
Do you think if he was out of the picture, you would have his?
No.
Good answer. But no.
Everybody's different. No, I mean, I think he's extremely funny and obviously very handsome. He's like a male model. So, what am I saying? Okay, so there's like weird little comedy rules that people say, and the other one was like you only can be self-deprecating, and I am self-deprecating, but I was like, well, why not explore all this other stuff and see? I understand why. And we did it all the time on The Soup, where you're like, I have a job on television where I'm being paid well. There's a camera pointed at me. We're broadcasting, but we're on the E network. No one's watching us.
Mm-hmm.
It's 10 o'clock on Fridays. Nobody watches then. Definitely. This is going way back. Kids who are like, what are you talking about? And so you always have to be, if you're in a position of power like that, where I'm the only one on camera, then you have to point out all the idiosyncrasies and weaknesses of the network and all that. Just like when you watch Letterman take out General Electric for the first 10 years of his run on NBC. It's so funny, and you bite the hand that feeds you.
30 Rock did that same thing for a while.
It's so that's it's not like that's engineered. I think that's born in. And then Conan's also one of the greatest examples of someone who insults himself constantly, and he is the funniest around,
How do you become friends with Conan? Is it because you've been on a show a few times and you guys connected? Let me check this.
Do you want me to answer while you're checking? Yeah. Oh, great. I think it's because we friend. I've gotten to know a lot of those.
You know what? Fuck, I'm so sorry. Hold on.
You're doing great.
Because when you've got make sure that the focus stayed.
I think it was good.
Will you look into camera again?
Look into my eyes,
Okay.
Rick Glassman. Oh, wait, is Steven okay?
You okay?
Oh, they died. No, I've gotten to know like Jimmy Kimmel and Conan because like we're in town, like everyone's in town, and and then our wives get along very well, and.
But how does that happen? Is it like? I mean, how does that happen? I mean,
But
you
like
meet a lot of
I
people
want
who are
like
in town.
like I'm like when I go on Fallon or Myers, I am genuinely fond of them,
Right.
and same thing with James Corden, where I'm like, I like these people. I wonder if these people would ever want to be like hang out, and so I just ask.
So, because a lot of people go on the show. In fact, every day somebody goes on the show, and I'm sure the guest is fond of Conan or Kimmel, etc.
Yeah,
Why is yours different?
I don't think it is. I mean, I think people are friends with all sorts of people that are on those shows.
It seemed like you and Conan had a friendship.
We have been, yes, we have been friends for now 10 years. Or yeah, from the
Today?
from to this very day. Yeah, this was the day we met.
Cool.
No, I don't know how it all happened. I think he emailed me. And then I emailed him back. I think he asked me to do a bit, and so just just like anything. You get to know them better, and he invited me to a party, or like at some like show party, and I don't know. That's just like how anything kind of comes together. I'm also because I grew up with watching him, and I told him the story. I was on the
Are you
second
guys the
half
same
of the
age?
show.
I don't know how old he is.
He's old. I think he's 53. I'm 50 this year, or he's 54. I'm not sure. But because like I always count. Johnny Carson was my grandpa. David Letterman. This like my grandpa, my TV grandpa, and then David Letterman was my TV dad, and then Conan was like my TV the coolest cousin, and so he was one that I had to like kind of be very like I was nervous at first.
You don't want to mess this up.
Well, I know I was more like I need to kind of I need to control myself when I'm around him, not to just hug him and swing him in the air and go thank you for because I was such a huge fan.
Same.
But people like Seth Meyers and Jimmy Kimmel, now because like I'm friends with Kimmel and he's the greatest. He could be the president. And
He did a Don Rickles interview.
he's so good. But I was like I didn't grow up in the same way I grew up with Letterman and Conan. So I wasn't as nervous to be around him at first. Now I'm not nervous for him, but. Anyway, that was a long way of saying those things.
I met Conan when I was working on Dateable. It was on the Warner Brothers lot. And do you know Brent Morin?
I don't.
He's a comedian friend of mine, and he shout out to his podcast, The Lion's Den. He worked as a PA there, and you know Sona?
Yes,
I became friends with Sona through Brent, and
she's great,
fantastic,
so funny.
Yeah, we've had. I
mean, she could have her own show.
She came on. She's one of the best responded to guests on my podcast, and she was over during the pandemic, and I was doing everything on the balcony.
Yeah,
but we put on masks, and she hadn't had a haircut, and she let me give her a haircut out there, and I watched a video on how to cut hair. She's just if there's a bit, she's into it.
Are you excited?
Look at these.
Oh, those are nice. Oh, I like that, Rick.
Beautiful, thick and beautiful
I mean,
hair.
it really is just fantastic.
When people cut hair, they always give you compliments and they talk gossip about other people and show business.
Yeah.
So I'm going to do that with you, okay?
Okay.
Did you hear Mark McGrath recently had a baby?
Wait, did he really?
Yeah. With Shania Twain's sister.
Oh my God, you could tell me so many things that are not true.
Kevin Spacey is back, by the way, starting a podcast called
No.
I Spaced Out with Spacey. Okay. I heard Tim Robbins is gay.
Tim Robbins, married to Susan Sarandon for
Tony
years.
Robbins.
Tony. Wait, is he really?
Yep, Tony Robbins is gay. And I hear he's very tall because his pituitary gland had a tumor on it. Kevin Pollak recently had a baby too.
Kevin Pollak.
Yeah.
So you heard a lot of babies happening.
Yeah. During the pandemic, a lot of people are having babies.
They're either breaking up or they're having babies.
Or it's not news, right? And that's just easy to be around. But the reason I brought it up was I met Conan because we were talking to Sona, and then Conan was there, and same thing as you. I mean, Conan is the king. And we're in there and he's talking and he's asking questions. What do your parents do? You know, whatever. And my mom sells perfume. My dad owns area rugs. And boy, are my arms tired. I've been boy, are my arms tireding jokes for a very long time.
It's good.
He laughed and I believed him. And though it's a move, you know, Costanza, all right, I'm out, but it's still a real move. I left because otherwise I would have asked him to sleep over. And I left, and ever since then, whenever I would see him on the lot, he would come up to me sometimes and say hi, and I just feel like I'm very proud of it. You know what I mean?
So
like,
great. Yeah.
I did well, and I didn't linger because I linger. When I realize I linger, I stop.
I'm that way too. I'm like, I should have gotten out.
Missing my dismount constantly. My closer is always 20 minutes too late.
Yeah.
Early?
I did end a show one time. I'm like, if you take anything from this show, just remember the first 20 minutes because that was gold. See ya. And
why do you think that is?
Why the first 20 minutes are gold?
Well, why is it that I think that we miss our. I think there's something about, and I'm grouping myself with you with this. There's something about the choices that we make that we ride waves.
Yeah.
To where, with anything, the house always wins. You can't keep going up.
Yeah.
And then once you fall, it's like, you know, Steve Martin, not coincidentally, left at the highest he could have left.
Yeah.
You know, we will keep going. I almost feel like I will keep going until I miss because I don't want to stop. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, obviously it's Steve Martin. So he had his eyes on numerous prizes and wanted to become a movie star, which he then did. And then he said, you know what, I think I'm going to become a Grammy-winning musician, which he then did.
Did he win a Grammy for music? I don't know that.
So many Grammys. Yes.
Really?
Yeah, he's basically one of the best bluegrass banjo players on the planet. And his albums are great. They really are. Here's a joke that I did on Steve Martin when we were in this movie. He had this SUV that was because the set was farther away from the trailers. So he was like, hey, come ride with me in the thing. I was like, great. And for whatever reason, I was in the front seat, and then he was in the back because Kevin Pollak was sitting next to him. And Steve Martin's driver had Steve's music playing. So we all get in, we pull out, and I just turn it off. And I'm like, oh, I got to get out. I can't. We're moving. Damn it.
Did he laugh?
He did. Yeah.
Steve Martin, for you, I Don't Want to Swing Around is more than Conan. Same?
Well, Steve Martin, his albums echoed through, my house. Same thing with like Robin Williams, I just played his albums until they broke. And so when I got to be in a movie with Robin Williams, that was another one. Thanks for asking. A friggin' Christmas Miracle. No one saw it. It's fine. But I got to spend a month with Robin Williams, and it was just a magical month where we made not a great movie, but it was still worth every second I was there. He was it's Robin Williams, so it was very hard of me to get a hold of. Like, it took a long time. We went to a couple different dinners where I'm like, oh my gosh, I think I've reached the point where I'm not sitting beside myself looking at me talking to Robin Williams. So he was Mr. Magic, just unbelievable.
The Chevy Chase.
Chevy Chase.
So the reason I said I didn't grow up with him was because Fresh Prince and The Simpsons raised me. Chevy Chase. However, I started getting 7 or so years ago, people compare me to him a lot, and I'll always take it as a compliment because he's very fun. I didn't know about Fletch until college or after. You know what I mean?
Okay.
That stuff. I'll speak for myself. He's one of the best to ever have done it. But there is something that is in Chevy Chase that I do understand what people see, which is, at least as a performer, it's a joke comes first. Your feelings don't matter, or they're not as important. And I think that's a healthy place as an artist to be, because you try to eliminate as many obstacles as possible, especially when you get edit stuff. But I think there's something in that character type that also is a double-edged sword to the reputation that I know he has, which is he always puts himself first. The joke is the most important, meaning that the people are not as important. Is that a fair analogy?
Well, when 4 years I worked with him on Community, now on Netflix.
I've seen it. I love the show. In anticipation of you coming over, I rewatched the pilot and a couple episodes last night. It's so good.
Yeah, it's
so good.
I knew when I read that pilot, I at that point was in this position where I was receiving a lot of pilots, and I was just like,
because of the soup.
Because of the soup,
Yeah.
and that's one of the reasons I did the soup, because I was only auditioning for like the brother or the neighbor or
There's nothing wrong with the brother or the neighbor, though.
No, but it was always like I was never considered a lead, and then the soup changed that. But that said, when I read that pilot script, it was just magic, and I was just because on a lot of pilots, I'd be like, well, I'll go in, I'll do my best. I know that there's so many factors out of my control that go into this thing, so I'm not going to worry about it if I don't get it. It's just another thing that
Get it as in the audition. Yeah, not the pilot.
Yeah, but with this one, I'm like, I'm going to fight for this until I bleed out of my eyes.
How'd you fight for it?
I told my agents, I was like, this is the only thing that I want to do, and I will fight for it.
Did you know of Dan Harmon before that?
I didn't. But I had only been in LA for 3 years at that point, or 4 years, so I didn't really know. Oh, excuse me, I've been in LA for 8 years. But I didn't know about Channel 101 or anything like that. I didn't know about the Jack Black pilot he did, and then I watched it, and it was extraordinary.
Were you booked first for Community?
I was, yeah, and it was funny because Dan and the Russo brothers were fighting for me, and I didn't audition.
What were the Russo brothers? They were directing
the producers and the directors.
Oh, I knew that you had a relationship with them, but I didn't realize it was from Community.
Yeah, they directed like 40 episodes.
Yeah, cool.
They're tremendous people, and too bad they haven't gone on to do anything. Too bad their careers have tanked.
People like the Marvel films.
Yeah, they're somewhat successful, right?
Oh, it's a niche. I mean, it's like, it's nerd culture, but people like it.
Yeah, there's just a few people that
have you seen
watched
them?
No, I've never seen any of them.
They're funny.
Yeah, they're. I love them. That was a love language that I have with my children.
What?
Are Marvel movies.
What do you mean? Oh, that's how you connect with them?
Oh yeah, no, we love them.
Yeah.
So what am I saying?
The pilot.
The pilot was great.
I also want to.
No, I auditioned for the there was like a few other guys auditioning for the role as we were all testing.
Do you know any of them?
I do.
Would you feel comfortable saying
No.
there? It's not private, right? I'm sure I could figure it out.
Go ahead, try.
All right, turn the cameras over a second. Who is it? And then I'll just say, isn't it such and such?
No, I don't want to say who it is.
That's fine. Really? Because it's like...
It's Will Smith.
Is it because...
No, I'd rather not say.
That's fine. But is it because you think it's mean to say?
Yeah, I don't want to go like, oh, that's the guy that I beat.
Gotcha.
I don't want that being a thing. But when I first went in and did my audition in this, because network tests are very bizarre, because you're in somebody's office with 20 executives crammed in there. It doesn't make it's the worst place for performance, but you have to do it and you can't resent it. You just go like, these are the terms of me getting this job. The first time I did it, they were like, okay, so they didn't really like what you did. And I'm like, oh. So then
Who said that to you?
I think Joe did. And then they put me on camera.
Okay, hold on. I want to visualize this better. You're in the room. You're in this room with all the network
these
and the
people.
studio.
I do the scenes. They're laughing, it seems.
And then you step out.
Then I step out.
And then Joe Russo comes up to you and says, they didn't like
this.
He
goes, we're gonna record a scene on camera and then they'll play the scene. To them.
Another day?
Another day. So
that was nice of
This
him.
excruciating process went on.
But he could have just said, he obviously wanted you.
Yes, but they all did, thank God.
Right.
And it worked. And
so what did you do? They on their own dime go and you on a set, you film a scene?
No, we shot it in that very same office.
How many days later?
Like an hour later.
So they see the other actors.
They see
maybe they
everybody
liked
else.
some, maybe they didn't.
Yeah.
But Joe Russo and whomever, they only recorded you?
Yeah.
They said, listen, we know Joel could do this in a different situation.
Right. And then we recorded it. And then it was like a day later, once everybody had watched it, they went, okay.
Why do you think you translated better on camera than in the room?
I honestly can tell you, I don't think I did anything different.
So you think just framing made it better?
I guess so. I don't know.
This might be a reach, but ADHD, dyslexia, learning disabilities, also had to go to special schools, learning disabilities. There are your champions, your Joe Russos, your Mrs. Robinson for me, who I know this didn't work here, but if we look at it from another angle.
Yeah.
Is there a connection that
No, I think all three, like Dan and Anthony and Joe, all did that. And they were fighting for me, which
what do they see?
I don't know.
But you agree that they saw something.
I think they probably thought I was nervous, which I was, and that they were thought with no one in the room, I won't be nervous.
Like when whatever the shows, America's Got Talent or X Factor or whatever, a lot of times, although I think they make them more nervous, but Simon will stop the music and be like, you get a glass of water. You want to, you know what? How about we just do it a cappella? You just relax, which I think he's trying to calm them down, but that's even worse. But some people could see nerves make you worse, and some people like, fuck it, he doesn't have it.
Yeah, I think I'm not sure exactly. That was my theory, and I really don't think I did it any worse or better on camera, but it worked.
So what happens when you find out Chevy Chase is on the show without knowing him yet? What is that?
I already had heard that he could be difficult. So we were like, okay, well, we know
what's difficult.
Well, he has a reputation of being difficult. You're describing his behavior?
I'm saying now, having had worked with him.
Well, he didn't want to be there. He did not like the hours, definitely.
Why'd he do it?
I don't know. I think he was offered a role on television, and I think that did a lot. He didn't. I'm not sure exactly why he chose it, but he's a guy that likes to work sometimes. So, but we kept very long hours at Community because we were making a movie every week. We
16-hour days
easily. Yes, because there's a lot of the Office style is to be shot, documentary style, which you can shoot way faster and you can get coverage with 3 cameras at once, and you can.
The show that I'm working on is 3 cameras, and it was 8-10-hour days were long days.
Yeah, well, our days were
because you didn't do that.
We did not do that,
right? I rewound a couple times. I remember there was one when you went back into the Community room after having gotten the test scores, and I rewound because it looked cool. But they started outside, follow with us. There's just a lot of coverage.
Yeah, there was a lot of coverage and it was very cinematic and people complain. Everyone's like, oh, the hours are really long. Like, the hours were the hours because they were, and there's nothing. Whenever I shoot on a movie, the hours are long because you're making pretty pictures for a lot of it. Anyway, so Chevy didn't want to be there, and there's multiple kind of incidents with him and Dan, and he then he left the show, and so that he was I've talked a lot about him, and he could be so funny. But
you talking about off screen as well?
Yeah, he could be off. He could be funny. Oh yeah, he could. But other times he could be in a terrible mood and not want to be there, and that affected a lot of us. So it's too bad because the show, we knew the show was good, and then he's so funny on the show. When you watch him on it, he's great.
So is the problem not when the cameras are rolling, but when the cameras are off?
I would say. Yeah, off camera was that was most of the time. Because if someone doesn't want to be there, then that's difficult.
But like on screen, was he able to give you what you needed, or was it still like?
He had trouble with long monologues, which Dan. I gave 1,000 monologues because I loved doing it, but it was a demanding show. And if you weren't game for it, it was going to be a problem.
Well, I don't want to miss my dismount with you. Give me a few more minutes. I have a couple more questions.
No.
All right. Well, thank you for coming over.
You're welcome.
It's been fun.
All right. You can give me 22 more questions, and that's it.
I have 22 questions left.
I literally see it.
You can see it. Betty and I watched the Friends reunion last night. Did you watch it?
I have not.
She helps me with questions sometimes, and she came up with a question that I thought was really funny and that I'm going to ask you. But I thought, oh, that you're just asking me this because we just watched the Friends reunion.
Okay.
And it was being on a hit show with these people. Her question was, do you feel this sense of family camaraderie with everybody that was on it? Because the Friends were talking about how, like, whenever for the X years since the show, if they're ever at a party and they run into each other, that's the night is over. Whoever they're with, they go away, they just talk to each other. And it was very much family.
Yep.
It's a different thing because Friends was, they were going through statistics. Every week they did 25 million. I mean, their numbers. It's different, it's
a different time.
But
they were a mega hit at a time when everyone was watching 4 networks, basically, and that was the apex of the sweet spot of the miracle of television at that time. And so, yeah, they were getting double Super Bowl audiences all in their freaking reruns,
and they were talking about how, like, their friends and family were supportive, and it's great, but nobody knew what they were going through except for them and the other 5. That is something that doesn't happen on TV anymore. But you guys were still on a hit show and spending crazy hours.
Well, it's funny because we were always told we were not a hit. And
were you not? Was it retroactive that it
was
became?
A weird thing because we were put at 8:00 on Thursday nights, and we were up against The Big Bang Theory, which made no sense, and
beat out Steve Carell every year.
Yeah, it made no sense to put a comedy up against the biggest comedy on the planet, and even I had a meeting with Les Moonves years ago.
Shout out to Les Moonves. We'll put his Instagram handle up here.
He said, "Why would anyone put a comedy up against? Why would you? Only alternative programming would work against us." And I was like, "Yeah, I agree." So we were always. So it was never considered a hit. It was always doing fine. And but multiple times we had, hey, can this episode, the last episode you guys shoot on this season, can it be the season and series finale? We got stuff like that. And then ultimately,
what does that mean?
That this would be the last episode ever.
Series and?
Yeah. So can it be like, just in case we want to end the show, can this be the series finale?
And. I understand.
So the series and season.
Gotcha.
So you're like, oh, what a wonderful morale booster.
That happened at the last, or that happened multiple times?
That happened multiple times.
Yeah.
And
so
then
we never know if you're coming back.
Well, ultimately, we were canceled after.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, we were canceled after 5 seasons, and then we were brought back to Yahoo, which I think people by that time noticed that the show did have quite a following, and then these. I'm going to say that to the reporters that kept saying it to me, the not smart reporters or didn't do their research, they always, somehow the narrative got into it that we were always ratings challenged. So I would get so furious when they would say that. I'd go like, A, we're up against The Big Bang Theory at 8:00. B, when Parks and Rec, and no offense to Parks and Rec, when their new episodes would go in our slot when we weren't on, they always got lower ratings. So I was like, so stop saying that. Stop reading other articles that are saying that. And then they would just look kind of hurt. And I'd be like, okay, now we can go on. But anyway, that said, after the table, so we are on the cast is on a group text, and we text almost every day.
Yeah.
And when we had the table read, now it's just over a year ago.
Oh, you guys did a community table read for charity or something?
Yeah. And I just cried like a baby afterwards because I had missed those people so much. I burst out crying.
Yeah,
it was great. I'm gonna burst out crying now because I love all those people and I miss them so much because there was so much time I spent way more time with them than I did my sons who were just growing up.
Right.
So I'm like, Sarah would text me stuff like, "Hey, your son walked today." And I'll be and I'm like, oh, I'm dressed as a I'm dressed as a badger today on set, so come on by. Anyway, so I miss them, and now being on this group text, it really has kept us together.
Have you ever thought about doing stuff with them? Like, I guess it's not your position, but like reunion style thing, or even getting them all together for the podcast?
We have interviewed pretty much everybody.
But I'm saying getting the group.
Yeah, so at the end of the table read, we Ken and I just turned it into the podcast. So we're like, now let's go do an. So we just said anybody who wants to stay, stay.
The Darkest Timeline podcast.
Which we haven't done since August.
Are you done podcasting?
It's probably. I mean, Ken is
because you talk. It seems like from your social that like you
we
just
always
haven't done
like
it.
it's we're gonna come back, right, Ken? And so we always kind of joke around. But Ken is, and dare I say, a bigger workaholic than I am, because all we want to do is work. So he and I both got extremely busy in September of last year, and I was shooting my show, then he started shooting Masked Singer, then I shot a movie, so we just
you did a movie with Kristen Bell and the
Yes.
Queens. I'm sorry, what is it again?
Queen Pins.
Queen Pins. Is that out? That's not out.
No.
And you filmed that during
Filmed that in October.
COVID.
Right at the height of October, the height of COVID, we shot it, which there wasn't a single...
What's the height of October, would you say? Is it the 15th or the 31st?
I would say, well, the 31st is the most fun, but if it's the middle, it's 15th. But that's when COVID was raging, and the amount of precautions taken.
Yeah.
Like, it was an $8 million movie, and they're like, that's fine. We're just going to take $2 million of that, and it will go only to COVID protocol. So now make your movie for $6 million.
Could you... this is a two-part. Both I'm getting what it's about, and I'm giving you a challenge, which is very hard.
Exciting.
The 1 to 3 line pitch on what this movie is and about.
It's about two suburban housewives.
You and Kristen Bell?
No, I am not a housewife, and I play her husband, who figure out how to work the system of coupons, and it turns into
that's fun.
Criminal endeavor.
And who's the other one? Is it Vince Vaughn? I don't know why I'm thinking that.
Kirby Howell Batista is the other.
Shout out to Kirby Howell Batista.
She's remarkable, and she's in Cruella, and she's just about to be cut. She was on The Good Place. So obviously Kristen Bell is Kristen Bell. She's Kristen Bell, and she's remarkable.
You came on the scene, and you're very attractive, and you're very charming, and you're tall.
There you go. And Kirby Howell Batista, she is a star. I'm coming, and Vince Vaughn's in it.
So my last question for you, number 22, is: are you passed at the Comedy Store?
Am I what?
Passed at the Comedy Store.
Passed.
Is your name on the wall at the Comedy Store?
No, I don't think so.
Would you look to camera and snap? Perfect.
You were saying?
I was saying that we need our own community of talented alpha, big swing, missing our dismounts, but figuring out a way to recover, some better than other comedians.
You have filled me in on what this means, and I never knew that. See, I didn't.
Have you ever performed there?
Yeah. I just, when they asked me, I'm like, I'm available.
Yeah, same.
If I'm around. But you performed there
many times, but
Yeah.
there's this
The list
past.
Okay.
There's a past. So basically, it's I've done many shows there, but the weekend original room lineups that are made every week where people can't get on it.
Do you want me to talk to someone?
At this point, I don't think it'll ever happen. But who
Okay.
would you talk to? You're not even passed.
No, I
Who would you talk? If you had to think of somebody, who would it be? Because I don't even know who. I think there's a new booker. I don't even know who it is.
I would talk. I probably Michael Keaton.
Do you have Michael Keaton's number?
No.
Hit up one of the Russo brothers.
Why would the Russo brothers do? They're not comics.
I don't know. At that point, it plants a seed. We could get them to come on the pod.
Should I ask Jerry Bruckheimer? I've got his number.
You got Jerry's number?
Yeah.
Yes, if we can't find somebody else in the next 10 seconds.
I'm not going to ask him, though.
Okay.
I was just joking.
Who do we ask?
I don't feel like I want to ask on your behalf because I haven't seen your material lately.
I could do some stuff.
I'm okay.
I could do 5 minutes for you.
That's fine.
10.
No.
Joel, thanks for coming over.
Thank you for having me, Rick Glassman.
Is there anything other than your...
if I see you in public, do not say your name to me.
I won't.
Promise?
I don't make frivolous promises.
Great.
Because what if I end up doing that as a
I know.
bit?
You're known as Frivolous Promise, Rick Glassman.
That's not true.
That is true.
You can keep it in.
Keep that in.
But make sure it's at the end of the episode.
Keep it in because it's true. Frivolous Promises.
FPRG.
Rick Glassman.
No. Joel, your show, Kitchen Criminal Guys.
Crime
is
Scene
on
Kitchen.
Fox, Wednesdays at 9.
All summer long.
Your Instagram handle, we'll put it up here. It's joelmchaleLive.com.
Yeah.
And anything else?
No. Your slippers are great.
Thank you.
It's great to see you.
Good to see you.
You look
Rick, by
great.
the way.
Unreal.
Had I promised, look at what would happen.
This looks like you had a head injury now.
Thanks, man. It was nice to meet you.
You're welcome.
Theme music, so now they can't hear what we're saying.
Blabbity blue.